discuss. So recently, there was a matchmaking coach who focuses on helping women um, improve certain aspects of their life so that they can be better candidates for like serious dating and marriage. Would you say that that was an accurate description of what she does?
Yeah.
So her name is April Mason. For anyone who doesn't know, so April Mason, this is an African American woman. She's a black woman, and she's made a career in this line of work, helping women become better marriage prospects. And she doesn't help just black women; she helps all women. But she recently put up a post on her Instagram that got a lot of people talking. There was a lot of buzz around this post, and as a result of this buzz, she, because her name is out there in this particular, content arena, she ended up on the
Legal attorney
YouTube page doing an interview with the legal attorney, and Kevin Samuels responded to some of her comments with her from her interview with legal attorney. So first, I'm gonna just read the post that April Mason put out. So it says here, quote, "After 10 plus years of helping women in this area, it's time to move on. I have had dozens of success stories from women who now married, engaged, or dating high caliber men. My track record speaks for itself. However, the majority that come to me have unrealistic expectations, the selfishness, fake everything, think they should be chosen because they have a vagina and good looks, the entitlement, just me, not knowing the difference between being a woman and a wise woman, and will fight you to be strong, not knowing how to be versus do, thinking being a feminine woman is weak or a pick-me, whatever that is, placing the blame and not taking responsibility or accountability for the choices they made in men, being disagreeable, defensive, argumentative about everything, always finding something to nitpick about, looking for perfection. If you mention anything about doing something kind for the man they chose, it's the what is he going to do for me, and the list goes on. Now, this doesn't excuse men's behavior. A lot of men think because they are high earning, it makes them a high value man. Not. I have just made my contribution and impact in this area for decades to come. I have over 50 courses that women who may need help in this area can rent or buy." And then she lists the link. "A wise woman knows how to exit on a high note." So I feel like those are pretty strong comments getting at women's lack of accountability for their lack of success when it comes to dating, relationships, and marriage. And let me reiterate, this is a black female. So a lot of y'all like to, disqualify people's merits because of their social characteristics, which is unreasonable and ridiculous. But for a lot of y'all who are going to push back on this is a black female. So it ain't a man, number one. It's not a white person, number two. It's a black female, and she specializes in helping women in general. Not just black women, but all women, and those were her comments. And so in response to that, because obviously you say something like that, a lot of people are talking, and your name is out there. So she ended up on
lead attorney.
So she ended up on his podcast talking about her comments. And so we'll go ahead and play a couple clips here.
All right.
What you do. So when you move the corporate ladder or go get successful in your business, that does not mean you don't be the woman. And a lot of times, especially our men, they say they want this type of woman, but they don't create an environment for that woman to actually be. Because they're so used to doing. When they say, "I want a strong woman like my mom," well, what was your mother's quality of life? Did she work 4 and 5 jobs? There's no way I could be with a man that wanted me to work every day, take care of the kids, and be his sex kitten, his sexy vixen, his confidant, his peaceful place, and all of those things. Mm-hmm. So that's why I tell women, you got to decide on what kind of man that you want.
So what do you think about that, Kevin? She's saying, listen, a lot of you men, you don't create a space for your woman to become feminine. You want her to work, and you want her to take care of your kids, and you want her to have sex with you. How are you expecting a woman to do all of that? If you're not, I guess, making 100% of the money, and you're not allowing her to stay home with the kids.
Okay.
What's your sense of that?
My sense of that is
Yeah, because
2.5 million black men are in the upper middle, in the upper class. Well, there are 40 million black people in this country. Roughly half of us, half are men and women, so that's 20 million. 2.5 of that 20 million black men are in the upper class. 54% of black men are single and childless. 61% are in the middle class. So according to the stats, that's providing like a mother sucker. If you're picked, see what this is a lot more of this. I would be a feminine woman if you could provide for me so much that I could quote unquote rest in my femininity. Well, if that's the case, then don't get mad if these very men who can't provide well enough for you pick Becky, Marisol, Marlene, or Jamila.
right.
You know, the difference between what an average white man makes in this country and an average black man makes is right around $9,000. But there's a definite disparity in the way we're treated between the races. And Hispanic men earn below us, and they damn sure get treated better. This is more of that. I'll be the woman you need if you provide. That's conditional femininity, and then women would not accept conditional masculinity.
Correct. And this is kind of what she was saying. And I wonder myself, and you talk to
So
many.
we could pause it there at least.
Okay.
So given what April Mason said, and then what Kevin Samuels rebuttal to that, like, how do you feel? Because basically her whole notion of that, basically the type of men always claiming that they want a traditional household, right? So you want a traditional wife. Well, basically, what are men doing as far as providing that traditional setting for women to be feminine in, right? So how do you feel about the whole exchange there?
Right. Okay. So first of all, it's news to me that a woman working. What's the best way for me to phrase this? It's news to me. I did not know that working was masculine. I didn't know that. That's news to me. So I was not aware of the fact that if you work, that you're somehow exhibiting masculinity. Therefore, if you want to conveniently use the threat of lack of femininity as a weapon against a man, you can infuse into the conversation this notion that you can't be wanting me to work if you also want me to be feminine. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
So but see, that's news to me. I'm being educated right now. I did not know.
Oh yeah.
That working is masculine. I didn't know that. I did not know that. I disagree. I don't think that working means you're masculine. I just think it means you're a human being who earns an income contributing to society.
Mm-hmm.
And there is no sexual, there is no, sex or gender tag that is associated with one's propensity for contributing to society, for working. So I don't buy this idea that if you work a lot, it must mean that you are somehow inherently subduing your femininity because working is inherently masculine. I don't buy that. That's number one.
Mm-hmm.
Number two, he's 100% correct. Treatment amongst the races is completely different. And I live this personally right now to this very day, and I've observed this. So me and my buddies, we kind of talk about this stuff when we're out and about, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we'll be at a social gathering. It can be a club, it can be a bar, it can be a lounge, places out and about in the city. It can be anything, a bowling alley, an arcade, take your pick. It doesn't matter. And what me and my buddies will be out, we'll notice, and we kind of talk about this, kind of offhand, but I think it's a real thing. Me and one of my friends, we have a joke that white guys, a white guy who's in college, he kind of looks like an IT guy, unassuming, average looking, probably going to school to better himself in some kind of way, setting himself up to be a high earner. because of what it is that he's studying. The point is, there's nothing about him overtly where you would look at this guy and you would say he gets the attention of high caliber women.
Mm-hmm.
Yet it never fails that every time I'm out and about, I will see a white guy or even like a Latino guy who I would characterize as very unassuming and average looking, who is with a woman who is the opposite of that. Like, she is very physically attractive, but she also at least seems to have an amenable personality type. There's a compatibility there in which they get along. And the thing that me and my buddies talk about often is, I don't think I've ever really seen that with Black people, at least not in my generation or any of the generations after that. You'll never see an unassuming, below average to average looking Black guy with a Black woman who you would characterize as an 8 or a better. You just don't see those types of things in society very often. And I don't think that there's a coincidence in that you don't see that. It has to do with the respective expectations of the women who come from these different cultures when it comes to what they want and how they see themselves as a dating, relationship, marriage prospect. And those expectations, I believe, fuel the way that they treat the men that they would like to be chosen by. So in a roundabout way, I agree with what Kevin Samuels is saying in that bit about the differences in treatment among races. And I do think that it's a factor. It's a cultural observation. I don't know what the source of it is. I can speculate. I can make educated guesses, but I'm not in people's homes. I'm not in their minds. I don't know why this stuff is going on, but I don't think that he's wrong. And yeah, just this whole idea of, he's correct. It's conditional love, conditional femininity. Like, you want me to be a feminine. Therefore, you have to do these things for me so that I can be feminine for you. And what I don't get about that is, what does that even mean? So you can't just be this. You have to be these things based on certain parameters and conditions that meet and fit your needs. To me, it's unreasonable. It's an unreasonable ask. It isn't conducive to functional relationships that fit, that are compatible. You're not giving men what they want. And if you claim to be someone who cares about being a wife and being a mother and being married, it would probably behoove you to learn what it is that the men who you want actually want in a woman and acquiesce to that, instead of trying to, reinvent the wheel and force your conditions upon the situation. But those are pretty much my initial thoughts. And I'm just not under this idea that you have to give me these things in order for me to be feminine towards you, i.e., I can't be doing all of this working and doing the cleaning and doing the cooking. It's like, listen, all relationships are all functional relationships are as such because the individuals involved adhere to roles.
Right.
That is why functional relationships are functional.
Right.
So it's not about you having to do the cooking and the cleaning and the laundry and the taking care of the kids. It's about what are the roles within our relationship that respectively make the most sense for us. Let's stick to that so that this thing works. Not, you want me to do these things, therefore you need to create the perfect environment for me so that I can be feminine for you. Like, that is the complete wrong way of thinking about it. So the idea is, what are the roles that make sense? If I'm like, I'm not a guy who sits around saying my woman has to do all of the cooking. I'm a damn good cook in my own right. If it works out within my relationship that I am cooking the meals, what are you contributing to offset the fact that I am cooking? Are you buying the groceries all the time? Are you the one changing diapers? Are you the one who's doing laundry? Are you the one who's calling the electrician whenever the cord and the ceiling fan comes out? It's all about assigned roles. But we're living in this day and age where women just believe that the notion of them having to adhere to a role is somehow them having their identity subdued.
Right.
And that's ridiculous. No, I have roles too. And me sticking to my roles isn't subduing my masculinity. So you shouldn't be thinking that you adhering to your roles is subduing your femininity.
And
Um,
no, and so let me just go ahead and ask you this. So, because while you were talking, I was really trying to think of more or less the genesis of this kind of ideology, but this is just a feminist ideology.
Modern
And
feminist ideology.
so my thing is, and I don't know who has the answer to this, but I'm just asking. Uh, how did so many of them buy this? I mean, the whole thing is like, when did it happen for them all to buy it? I remember, I'm talking to a girl or whatever, I was young, you know, probably like, shit, 9, 10 years ago. But I'm talking to the girl, and I suggest she cooks. I didn't say cook for me. I'm like, hey, why don't you, or can you, in that vein of, can you make me like spaghetti too? Something basic, bro. I'm not asking for nothing deep. And her whole thing was, why? Because I'm a woman? And I'm like, well, no, because you're my girlfriend. So, like,
Yeah,
can you cook for me? I cooked for you before.
right.
So what's the big deal for you? Nah, we can cook together. Like, what is that? And then my whole thing was, immediately my thought was, what happens with the kids? So what's going on with the kids? So it's going to be a battle of who's going to cook for the kids. Is dad going to be the only person cooking for the kids? Like, I don't want that. So I'm sorry. I want my kids to grow up eating mama's cooking. And so my whole thing is, so my question to you is, when did so many of them buy this modern woman? Because that's all Kevin Samuels calls it. He just calls it modern woman, where they
Hmm.
all have this ideology of, I'm not going to do that. That's what those submissive slave women did. I'm not a submissive. Yeah, I'm not a
Yeah, no,
submissive
yeah, yeah,
slave.
yeah. I know.
Yeah, I'm not a submissive slave woman. I'm an empowered woman who doesn't have to work for other people.
Yeah, that's a great question that I as well do not have the answer to. The only thing, the only thing that I can theorize is that
Mhm.
it's an evolution of previous forms of thinking that have just manifested themselves in what we are seeing today. So what initially started as, single motherhood and having to be the sole provider for your family out of necessity and survival, that evolved into chosen single motherhood.
Yeah,
Where there's a lifestyle in which you've chosen to be someone who's open to the idea of raising children by yourself. And
yeah,
so from that evolved into, I can do these things better than you. I have the kids, I can do them better than you. So therefore, that evolves into, I don't need you, which evolves into, this madness that we see now, where it's, I'm not gonna do that
yeah.
because
I'm
I'm
not going
getting
to
by
do
without having to do it now. Why should I have to do it for you if we're together? It's backwards. But the irony, the sheer irony of it is, the irony of this stuff, and this is what I find so funny, is like, I'm sorry, but if, like, let's say that I work in a deli and I'm on a slicer machine and I choose to not put on the cutting glove because I can just slice this meat without this cutting glove, and I slice my finger off. And then I decide I still don't need the cutting glove. I'm gonna keep on working without my glove, and I slice another finger off. At what point do I put the glove on because what I'm doing doesn't work? And I think what Kevin Samuels often talks about with his content is evaluating outcomes. He mentions that that's a going theme for him in a lot of his videos, is the evaluation of outcomes. If you don't like what is happening, let's talk about the process and the system that you're using, because what is the outcome that you desire? If it is proven that reaching a desired outcome requires certain actions and behaviors, you're not going to work your way around that and get the outcome that you want without having to put those inputs in. And so a lot of these women who do this stuff, who say, I'm not going to do this, I'm not going to do that, you're not going to control me, who immediately leap into defensiveness. Like, all of these women are single. And so the thing is, like, at what point do you sit back and you take inventory on your own choices and you say, I want to be someone who's not single. I want to be somebody who's in a functional relationship, who's married. I want to be this person. So what do I need to do to make that happen? Because what I'm doing now does not work. Mm-hmm. And every woman who I know who's in a marriage doesn't buy into any of that BS. They don't buy into any of it. They buy into roles and they adhere to them because it works. And it's like, listen, stop thinking that you adhering to roles is a form of control. Like, no one's controlling you. No man is controlling you. But the roles exist because that's what helps to create a functional situation. Right. So you don't want me to renege on my roles, right? So how about you don't renege on yours either? Right. That's all this is about. But it's like it's like a masculine form of, it's almost like they want to wear the pants, literally. Literally. And we've heard this expression before in the past, like, you know, women can wear the pants too. They literally want to wear the pants. And it's like, okay, so what do you want? Do you want to go out and be the provider and do the hard labor and do all of that stuff? And you want the men to stay home and be stay-at-home fathers and cook and clean and do laundry? No, you don't want that, because you wouldn't respect that guy. No. Because no matter how much you claim to want this role reversal, it goes against a woman's very nature to respect a man who isn't inherently masculine. And if you want an emasculated guy who's going to be sitting at home doing all that stuff, the relationship isn't going to work anyway, because you're not going to respect him.
And let me interject on that, and that's absolutely a great point. And even if the guy, he's hitting everything on the head. I mean, he's doing everything domestic. You know what I'm saying? But when he's doing all this stuff domestic, is that sexy to her? And the answer's no. And that's the problem. And so they'll have that guy too. And he's a duck to her.
He's a kept man.
Yeah. And so very safe or whatever, but she's gonna have a thing for the guy that's not doing that at all. Right. His energy says, I don't do any of that domestic stuff. Yeah. And he walks around with that energy. Oh, and she's like, oh my God. He doesn't dust anything. Meanwhile, super husband at the house is dusting the fans. You know what I'm saying? He made peanut butter and jelly sandwiches for the kids this morning, walked them to the bus stop. He did all of that. He's a duck to her. And why is he a duck? Because he's playing the wrong role. Mm-hmm. And she innately knows that. It's in her to go, this is not attractive to me. Yeah. Yeah, I kind of thought I wanted this car. After driving it,
it's completely instinctive.
Yeah.
Certain things are just natural. Certain things are matters of Mother Nature.
Yeah. And they can't control that they're attracted to rugged masculinity.
It's just, it is what it is. It's, it would be unnatural for tigers to certainly be born and not have stripes.
Right.
Like, this is the way, like, don't blame me. Blame God, Allah, Elohim, Yahweh, whatever intelligent designer you think came, whatever intelligent designer you think came up with this, blame them. They set this up, not me. So, it is what it is. It is instinctively natural for a woman to, number one, respect and find sexual chemistry with a man who is inherently masculine. Two sides of the same coin. It is instinctive for a man to find sexual chemistry and attraction with a woman who is inherently feminine. This is the way these things go. If you don't like it, be alone. But as he says, as he likes to say, buy a dog, get a dog, and die alone. Mm-hmm. Because you're not going to rewrite this. You're not going to change anything. And having a kept man who adheres to feminine roles, because that's really what this is. It's not going to change the fact that you will not respect him. And no, I don't give a damn what anyone says. No relationship works in which the man is not respected by his partner. is not respected by his woman, it will not work. All
Right.
she's going to do is cheat on him with a guy whom she respects.
Exactly.
That's all that's going to end up happening. So, again, to answer your original question, I don't know. I
Nah,
can
that's fair.
theorize. I do think that it is rooted in culture. I personally find this type of mentality more prevalent in Black people. I'm just going to be straight honest with you. I see less of it with Latino and white people. Like I said before, I have seen unassuming guys. I have seen, me and my buddies, we call them IT guys. I see it every day. A regular dude, a white kid. He's maybe 5'6", 5'7". Maybe he wears glasses. Unassuming. He wears clothes that don't really fit all that well, but he doesn't give a damn. He's living his life. And he's with a girl who's like bad. And that girl does not treat him like shit. And I don't think ever in the course of my life have I ever seen a Black couple where I'm looking at the guy and I'm thinking that he is at least physically below average, but his girl is the opposite of that. I've never seen that. And there's a reason for it. The price tag is just different when it comes to our people. That's as nice as I'm gonna put it without getting a little more harsh than that.
That's fair.
And the thing about it is, if you want to be that way, that's fine. But you need to understand that not every 6'6", six-figure earning, six-pack ab Black men don't grow on trees. They don't. And that's what so if that's what you want, you can either you need to resign to the fact that you're going to be with a guy who has other women. Therefore, you'll never have fidelity. So you can at least accept that, or you can have more realistic expectations about what it is that you want and change the way that you go about acquiring that, change the way that you go about seeking that. Like, that's it. You have one or two options, but you're trying to force this idea that you can get this model of perfection and the guy be, faithful and all of this other kind of stuff. It's ridiculous. I don't see this kind of stuff with other races of people. It's not to say that it doesn't exist. It does exist. It's just not nearly as prevalent. And it is what it is. I can go on and on, but I think that he has a point with all of that. $45K to $65K a year simply is not the modern Black woman today who's even halfway decently attractive finds $45K to $65K a year not good enough. It's not good enough. You need to give me more, do more. You need to be making more. That's not good enough. If I was a white guy, I'd feel very confident that I can get me a white wife who's gorgeous and beautiful and fit and likes to work out and doesn't care about adhering to roles in our relationship, and I can make $50,000 a year.
Yep.
I would have that certainty if I was white or even if I was Latino. I see it every day. So it's like, what is it in and we're only what are we at this point? 11% of the population? He said 40 million Black people live in this country. We've been overtaken by Latinos as the dominant minority in this country. Our numbers are less. So it's even more paramount for us to be reasonable when it comes to notions of marriages and family, because we're going to, birth rate ourselves out of existence. I've already told you my theory about there's only 10 to 20% of of Black men who are of sexual maturity age who are actively having sex.
Mm-hmm.
The other 80% are involuntarily celibate. Why is that? You think these guys are walking around not trying to have sex?
Some of them.
Not 80%.
No, but not all of
80%.
them. No. No.
So it's just a lot for us to think about and ponder. And this is why, listen, and I get a lot of flack for this, but I don't give a damn. I tell guys all the time, listen, man, do not be afraid of exploring your options. Your happiness, your peace, finding what it is that you want, whether it's physical preferences, if you want her to have a certain body type, if you want her to have a certain hair color, all of that shit. Physical preferences, family value preferences, domesticated skills preferences, intelligence, all of these preferences that you might have when it comes to the type of woman that you want to have, if you want to maximize your chances of finding that, you need to explore every option. And a message that I give specifically to Black men, Black women hate this, but Black women are the reason why we're doing this, is if you want to maximize your opportunity to find everything that it is to looking for, you're going to have to explore every option and not cling to this notion that you have an obligation to uplift the Black race by marrying a Black woman. Because you can stick to that if you want to, and I'm not disparaging anybody who chooses to do that. But I personally believe that your happiness within your relationship and finding maximum compatibility in everything that you seek in this day and age, in 2021, because of how crazy things are, has to supersede that obligation. It has to. Mm-hmm. And that's just my personal opinion. Because I find it unfair that these other races of men don't even have to worry about this. These other guys aren't agonizing over this the way we do. They're living their life and just doing whatever. And then whatever happens, happens. You know, they let the chips fall where they may. It's like, such a minefield for Black people and Black men in particular. Mm-hmm. And so I say, man, just explore your options.
I agree. And I would say that as far as other races of men, I've heard other. This is an American phenomenon right now. I think this is an American culture. I think this is a Western type of ideology.
I think it's a Westernized. So, not to cut you off, but I think this is something that you can observe in any Westernized culture.
Western, yeah.
So
Western.
America, you know, over there in Europe, Great Britain, France, all those Westernized cultures. This is what you see. You're going to see this everywhere you go.
Right. But I would argue that America is a little bit more aggressive than overseas, but for real, like, because these women over here are they're the prototypes for what other women are following. Basically, they're the ones that get on TV, and the ones in Europe are following that. Mm-hmm. And so, but I would say hand in hand, it's a Westernized ideology that that women are doing this, and so. And I think you said it earlier, it's not all women, man. And there's women out there that do understand the power of roles. Look, bro, everybody can't drop 50. Everybody can't score 50 a night, and everybody's not doing that. Somebody has to set the pick. Mm-hmm. You know, somebody's got to grab rebounds. This is a team effort. And so, you know, who cares who scores all the points if the family is what matters? You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So if the team is what matters and the championship is what matters, what the hell else does it matter of who's scoring all the points, who's doing all this, who's doing all that? Yeah. And as far as what's going on, there's a lot of scorekeeping. Nah, I'm trying to get the buckets.
Yeah.
I got the buckets.
Yeah.
You putting up all these shots. I want my shots too. Right. It's like, look, first of all, if you're open, I'll pass it to you. But don't sit here and just hog the ball. And you're hogging the ball. Nobody wants to play with you. I mean, nobody.
Yeah.
And before it was this thing where it was just like, oh, you know, they're getting a bad rap. They're getting a bad rap. Man.
Well, listen, if they're getting a bad rap, again, this is listen, man. To quote Thanos from Avengers, it's a simple calculus. If you're getting a bad rap, if you feel as though you're getting a bad rap, let's evaluate your outcomes. What are your outcomes? The rap can't be all that bad if your outcome is what it is.
Right.
When your outcome, listen, the definition of insanity is committing to the same behavior repeatedly but expecting different results. That is literally the Webster. That is the dictionary definition of insanity. So if you believe that you want something, but your process isn't yielding the outcome you desire, why do you keep implementing the same process? Get a different process. Oh, but there's nothing wrong with my process. Everyone else is the problem. See, that's what it is. So my process is actually perfect. It's just all these men out here who are messed up. It ain't me, it's y'all. I'm doing the right thing. I'm going to college and getting my degrees and I'm educated. You are the problem. You know what I'm saying? Like, what are we doing here?
Yeah, I don't know.
What are we doing here?
And then when once other races of women get thrown in there, It's like, look,
They get mad.
yeah, they get mad, but
Yeah.
it's like, honestly, there's not much competition here. Honestly, it's kind of like, listen, bro, man, I'm gonna keep it a buck, bro. I might get in trouble saying that. But black women they're just like the first round draft pick that has all the athleticism. Yes, woman, everybody wants you as far as body. Every woman is getting injections here and there just to look like you. All right, I get all of that stuff. All right, so as far as athleticism, y'all jump out of the gym. All right, but when it comes to fundamentals and playing ball, all right, those other women are playing ball and they're playing fundamentally sound. So I don't care about all these alley oops and all this other stuff that women over here are doing. All right. It's just like, look, man, these other women are putting in the work. They're passing the ball. They don't care who scores. They're winning.
Yeah.
And now once the Olympics comes, now it's actually competition. Now you're actually losing. Hey, get in the gym and go to work.
Yeah.
Work on your fundamentals. Work on that. I'm not saying that black men, as a conglomerate, we got it all figured out too, because there's some knuckleheads out there too now. You know what I'm saying, when it comes to black males. But at the same time, I would say that there are a lot of good black males out there that are really not out here trying to be on the shenanigans, and they just want something regular. They just want something regular, stable, safe, like what they grew up looking at, whether it's their personal family or immediate family or some other people's family, their friends' family, somebody, they seen it. They seen marriage.
Yeah.
And so they wanted to grow up with that. And so for people to not be able to achieve that nowadays, and it's mainly due to women bucking the system, trying to create something else. And that's why I think we kind of alluded this in previous conversations. But basically, man, my stance now, at least if they're modern women and dealing with modern women, you basically just have to you got to treat them like, how can I say this, bro? Like, you got to let them do whatever they want. You just got to let her do it. If you try to institute structure, she's going to find that as a form of control.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, this is just structure. So, in order to wake up on time, you have to go to sleep on time. All right. You have to set an alarm. So,
but
right.
I mean, but the thing that's so ridiculous about that idea is the idea that I am doing the idea that I am instituting these things in order to control you.
That's what I'm getting.
That denotes that I am not following these things myself. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But I am. So like we're all in this. Like it's not like I'm out here wilding while I got you caged up.
Because it came from you.
I know, because it was my idea. Yeah.
And that's the part that is just absolutely mind blowing.
Yeah.
You kind of have to pull an Inception where it was their idea. It's the only way they're going to rock with it, because they thought they came up with it.
Yeah.
But if you suggest it, even though they want a man, they want a leader and stuff like that, but then there comes these times and these moments where they just go, nah, that programming is so thick that
it really is. It's embedded into the psyche deeply.
Yeah, and as soon as they hear something, as soon as they hear something, they think it's a command or it's like, it's not a command, bro. It's like, fuck, like I gotta run these sprints too.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I'm out here running. It's a form of psychosis. It's really in there, man. It's crazy. I remember not too long ago, there was a girl who came. So I live in an apartment, and we got like a little courtyard. Across the courtyard is another building. And on the second floor of the apartment across from mine, there's a girl who lived in it by herself. Well, another girl who knew her came to live in it with her. And as she was moving in, they knocked on my door because they wanted my help. So, I got tools and drills, and, I know how to put stuff together. So, I'm like, all right, yeah, sure, I'll come and help out. So I get over there. I got my drill over there. I'm trying to help her put her bed together and stuff like that. You know how these things come in pieces. You read the little booklet to put stuff together. So, I'm helping her, and, she's reading the instructions. I'm putting it together. And so there was one part where like she read something and I grabbed like the wrong piece. So she was like, no, it's not that one, it's that one. And so I was like, oh yeah, you're right. So then I grabbed the right piece. And she was like, see, don't underestimate me because I'm a woman. And the comment came out of left field because
Yeah.
I'm like, well, I never did that. And you came to me asking for my help. So who's underestimating who? Are you underestimating yourself? Because you came to me for help. You didn't try it yourself. You didn't put it together. You came to me because you wanted my help. So how could I be underestimating you because of your womanhood when you came to me? I made no insinuation whatsoever that I was underestimating you because you're a woman. I acknowledge that I picked up the wrong thing. I said you were right. So what is this thing about? Yeah, I told you I knew my stuff. Don't think because
what is that?
And the thing, and she did it multiple times, bro. Several times throughout me helping her, and I laughed it off because I'm not finna chastise her about it. But several times throughout that process of me helping her put her stuff together, she would be like, "I told you, I know I'm a female, but I can do it too." And it's like, listen, this defensiveness is uncalled for. I don't know whether you've had experiences in the past where you've been in relationships and dude put you down. So now you feel you have to overcompensate because every man must be the same and think that you have no worth because you're a woman. But like you doing this is making me not want to help you again. That's the only thing that's happening, And so like, again, the irony in that was you're bringing up this idea that I'm underestimating you because you're a woman. You came to me for help. I didn't offer my help. It's not like I was like, hey, you don't look like you know what you're doing. Let me come help. I was chilling in my crib working. And she boom, 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 boom. Hey, can you come help me do this? Bet. And so now I got to deal with these slick ass comments. I'm good. But it's just stuff like that. She's in her early 20s. She's a modern chick. Got her degree. So she feel like she's in this minority where she just has this air. There's a complex that women like that have about themselves. It's a superiority complex. And it's a superiority complex which suggests I don't need to take nothing from you. Look what I've achieved. Listen, men don't give a shit about your degrees or your education.
Yeah,
it's low on the totem pole of things that we prioritize when it comes to how fit you are as a partner. It may be at best 5th or 6th on my list. I don't care. So like, don't throw that stuff in my face. It just makes you look like a naturally defensive individual who no one wants to be around.
And I think that's the part that comes off as masculine to some people, is that whole notion of I don't need a man, I don't need anybody, I don't need you, type of thing. And it's just like, what? Why? And those movies.
Hold on, I'm gonna just because I want to say this because I might forget it. You know what's funny about that? I'm gonna let you continue, but it's just like, listen, what do you want? Like, okay, so you don't want to feel like, nor do you want to make me feel like you need me. What do you want? You want me to admit that I need you? Fine, I admit it. Hey, listen, woman, I need you.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, listen, women, I need you. What are we doing? This is not guerrilla warfare. Like, I need you. I can't be a dad without you. I can't have a family without you. I can't have a home I can have a home, but you know what I mean. Like, I need you. Okay, so what is this? We need each other. That's all I wanted to say.
No, fair. And so, that's what all these movies, everybody's getting upset nowadays about these movies that are placing women in roles instead of men that were traditionally used to be men. Now they're putting a woman there, right? Women are being these superhero, throwing around 300-pound men and doing jujitsu and flying and doing all this other stuff. Like, they're catering to modern women.
Sure, yeah.
And they're also giving them rhetoric and talking points in there. Yeah. And then in those movies, I forgot what movie it was. I don't know where I was at. It must have been old if I was at the movies. But it was still a scene in there where it was like a slick one-liner for the women. And it was a jab at all men.
Yeah.
And all the women in there were clapping, yeah, yeah. And it's like, what is this chip that all of y'all have on y'all shoulders right now? Like, please remove it. It's hideous. And so they all seem to have this massive chip on them. Not all of them, a
A
large
lot of,
percentage of
yes.
them.
It's a fair amount.
Yeah,
It's,
have a large percentage of them have this chip on their shoulder where they feel, and I don't know where it comes from initially or whatever. I don't know how it is growing up a girl in the 90s, growing up as a girl in the early 2000s. You won't understand. And I probably won't, the jokes or jabs that kids made when they were kids about their level of strength or their level of capacity. Maybe that has, of course, that has some fuel in there. So I'm pretty sure they'll throw those things at us as reasons why they have these chips on their shoulders. You wouldn't
blah
understand.
blah
You're not a
blah
woman.
blah blah.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure these are things. But a lot of this though goes away when you play your role as a woman,
Yeah.
because nobody's going to give shit to a woman being a woman. And she's just awesome to everybody. Honestly, everybody loves her. She's the mom at the PTA. She's being extra mommy. She's everybody's mom. She shows up to the meetings. She does this. She's caring. She does that. She does this. Does it have to be that? No. But that woman gets a hell of a lot of respect from everybody, versus the one out here that's fast, that got to drop the kid off at grandma's house so she can go on and turn up tonight. Yeah, that's where we're at, bro.
Oh yeah,
So
sure.
those days of getting the respect that, so this is a two-way thing. So men are struggling getting respect from women, and women are struggling getting respect from men. And the reason is, just like how you said, to tie things full circle, is roles. All right. And there's a lot of cats out there that ain't holding it down either.
I
Yeah,
agree.
just because you have a penis, bro, that don't mean that you're holding down masculinity the right way.
I agree.
Especially when you're around here parading around being hyper masculine or effeminate masculine.
Right.
Either way, you're not being balanced in your masculinity,
Right.
and you're creating havoc out here, adding to the pool of broken women out here.
Mm-hmm.
So it's
Yeah.
dudes out here that are not helping the cause either.
Yeah.
But the whole thing is, man, I feel as though for the dudes that are out there that are trying to stay solid and stay in their roles, stay firm. There's movements out there where people are saying, hey, save yourself. Hey, you don't have to, there's no obligation.
Yeah.
And so I'm more of the person to be more like, all right, man, culture's culture though. But I get the premise, and I put it this way. I did judge. So
Mm-hmm.
I judge black people who were interracial. I used to do that.
Mm-hmm.
Not anymore. And so if you want to do that, that's on you. That live your life. I feel like there could be cultural differences,
Sure. Yeah.
even though you may have love in between, and you guys share feelings and stuff like that. There still may be cultural differences that drives a wedge in between y'all.
Mm-hmm.
And
I agree
so
with that.
those are the biggest hurdles that I feel like those groups need to deal with.
Mm-hmm.
And if they can deal with those in an appropriate way, and there's no faking on either side, she genuinely feels your struggle and you genuinely feels hers, then that's all love. I've seen that before, and I don't have a problem with it.
Mm-hmm.
So if that's the thing, live your life, do your thing. But if it's just, because, well, shit, bro, she be cooking this shit, so that's why I got me a whatever girl.
Yeah.
What? Oh, hey, I just got her to be, and he's still doing his shenanigans, right?
Yeah.
So I'm not talking about that. I'm just saying for dudes out there that you're solid, man. You solid. Stay solid in your masculinity. And I honestly, and Kevin Samuels, he talks about how women talks about they're manifesting and stuff like that. I do feel as though if you're solid in yourself, you stay firm, you can manifest money, you can manifest your partner, you can manifest anything you want,
Mm-hmm.
so long as you're solid in whatever you claiming that you want to be solid in.
Yeah.
And so I feel as though if there is a woman, and I think this is what she was talking about too, as far as April, as far as just being dope. And I guess what she was talking about, her definition of being dope is just being her version, and this is the problem, her version of femininity, which is selective femininity, not just being feminine overall.
Right.
And so that's a fallacy in itself too. So there's some half truths being spoken by her. But overall, I get what the premise behind, hey, be solid in yourself, and then the guys that are worth something will see that you're worthy because you're bringing value to the table.
Mm-hmm.
And so a woman bringing value to the table doesn't have to be financial. It can be emotional. It could be, nurturing. It can be a multitude of things for why she's seen as a solid piece for the championship winning team.
Mm-hmm.
So the championship winning piece doesn't always have to be the superstar. It could be the person that dives in the stand for loose balls. And if that's the last piece of the puzzle, Dennis Rodman or something like that, where you don't have to score all the points, but you're doing all the dirty work, you're doing this and you're doing that to make the family work. I can tell you for one thing, my dad, he did the grunt work. He went out in the field and did his thing, but my mom did the dirty work. And she made all the plays happen because she was willing to do whatever it took for the team to win. And and my dad sacrificed too, because who the hell wants to go out there and work every day the same goddamn job for over 30 something years? Like, bro, I be working the same job for 3 years and I'm over.
Yeah, I'm burnt out right now. Yeah.
I don't know how the old heads worked at the same place for 30 years.
Yeah.
What is that?
I don't know. I'm 3 years in on mine and I've been burnt out.
My head's exploding.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So kudos to the old heads who are willing to sacrifice. And I think that's the difference too. I'll end it on that, is that the difference between both old men and old women was the level of sacrifice that both were willing to take in order to raise a family. And so my oldest brother, he told me when he had his first kid, he was like, bro, it's over. Everything stops.
Mm-hmm.
Real parents say that. The parents that's out here on some, I still want to live my life. Now, if you had your jit when you were 17, 18, hey, bro, I get it. But if you're of age and you were like, 20 something plus and you had a jit, you got to stop.
Yeah.
You can go over here, you can go over there, but there has to be a level of sacrifice. You can't still live the same baller lifestyle when you have a whole human being that you have to be taking care of. So, yeah, man. So I would say that the key for both sides would be sacrifice, bro.
Yeah.
Both sides got to sacrifice.
Yeah, I hear you. I agree with that. And, it's just, it is what it, I don't know when we'll ever find resolution with any of this stuff.
No, we won't.
And, you made a good point when you talked about the cultural differences when it comes to like, dating outside of your race or your culture. That's a real thing. I agree with that. And that's why I stress the notion of compatibility, because compatibility denotes that there are shared circumstances in both of your situations, despite the fact that you are of a different race than the other person. But yeah, I agree 100%. But I just think a lot of times, like, a person's like when you date and when you marry and do all of that, the vast majority of the time it works out in such a way that socioeconomically you're in the same environment as the person you're with.
Yeah.
So a lot of times it works that way. It's just getting your mind around the idea that it's okay for me to do this. And look, black people are black people's toughest critic, meaning whatever you do, the first person who's going to be stepping up is going to be another black person. Like, period. Actually, so you're just going to have to accept that people just going to have shit to say. Like, it is what it is. But those people, just know that when you're out here procreating and doing your thing and actually leaving a legacy, and you're in a relationship that doesn't make you want to blow your brains out, that person is miserable because they don't have what you have. So, it is what it is. And, I just think it's very telling when you have people like April Mason, who comes from the cohort of these people whom we're talking about, saying, listen, y'all ladies are going about this the wrong way. At some point, somebody has to start listening, because it's just so many of them who just don't buy it. They just don't buy it. They just are going to continue to do whatever they want. because they don't care what anyone has to say. They know that the way that they're going about doing it is the right way. And you know, I would not humbly disagree. So. But you know, we'll go ahead and cut it short from there, man. Good topics, good talk tonight, man. This is a good live stream, man. I had fun with this. You know, whenever we can get like a Kevin Samuels or Brittany Renner or anyone who are just automatic content machines, man, it always makes for a better stream. So,
all right.
Just, you know, I don't know what to say. I don't really have any closing remarks. It is what it is. I'm just trying to find what I can find so that I can be happy. And I ain't worried about changing the world, because that would just stress me out way too much. And I suggest that everybody out there does the same. But other than that, like always, we're going to go ahead and sign off. If you like the commentary in this video, definitely hit the subscribe button so you can get that notification whenever we post new content to the channel. Share the video wherever you'd like to share it. Please comment. Let us know what you thought was off base or crazy. If you're watching this video on Facebook, definitely also comment and hit the like and share button as well. I certainly appreciate it. Full content library for the channel is available on consciousapproach.com. Follow Conscious Approach on Facebook, same spelling, Conscious Approach. Again, like the page, hit the like button on the video, share button on the video, subscribe to the comment on the video. You can find me on Instagram at JVWins, JVWINS. I'm also on Facebook at Javis Ogden, JAVISOGDEN, as well as on Twitter at Javis Ogden, same spelling. Be on the lookout. We've also got the Facebook page updated with all the videos finally. So now that I've gotten ahead of that, we can start actually posting individual videos to increase the frequency. So I'm very excited now that I'm no longer behind in my life. Long story. Long story. But yeah, other than that, man, keep supporting logical content. We certainly appreciate it. We'll catch you on the next stream.
Yeah. And the name's Dogon SS. You can find me on Instagram at Dogon_SS and also on YouTube at Dogon SS. All right, go ahead and like and subscribe on over there. Hit the bell for notifications. All right, for whenever I drop some videos. All right, so like always, man, keep it player, stay chill, yeah, man, keep it neutral, man. Stay in the neutral zone, not so high, not so low. Stay on your square and stay relaxed, man.
Yeah, man. Yeah, keep your eye on the prize out here, man. It's rough and rugged. But I agree with you. When you stay on your purpose, when you're on your square, you'll naturally manifest the things that you want to manifest. So just don't buy into thinking that you have to go with a wave. Don't succumb to groupthink mentality, man. Just don't feel like you got to follow a wave. Do you, bro? For real.
Yes.
But until then, man, we're going to go ahead and end the stream. This is December 14th live stream, Conscious Approach in the books. We'll see you next time. Holla.